our very first episode on 21st Century Opinion. My name is Emmy.
Hey, I'm John.
On this channel, we'll be discussing topics like relationships, love, friendship, sex, and giving advice and sharing our personal opinions on them. For today's topic, we will be going over who we think should pay on a first date. Who do you think should pick up the tab on a first date?
Anyway, I think whoever asks the other person out should pick up the tab. But I highly believe that the men should take it though.
I personally will advise the ladies to pick up the tab on a first date because the men will have less leverage over you at the end of the date. I think if you go on a date with a man, you allow him to pay. At the end of the date, he might ask you for something, and just use the fact that he paid for the date to convince you why you should give him a kiss or why you should give him something after.
I highly doubt that's what it is. Like, if that's the man's intention, like let's say I wanna kiss you at the end of the day, or I have the intention like I wanna sleep with you, just because you pay for the date wouldn't change my opinion of that, right? It wouldn't be like, oh, shit, she pays for the date. Now I can ask her for a kiss, or I can ask her to sleep with her. Men usually just go off based off the vibe you give them on the date. If you give them the vibe that you're an easy picking, then they're gonna try to do something. But at the same time, if you don't give them that vibe, they're not gonna try to do anything. It's not like, oh, I pay for the date, then you gotta give me something back in return. Like, why? No, it's not. I don't believe it's that at all.
I think you don't know the intention of the person that you're going on the date with. A lot of men at the end of the date, all they want is to have sex with you or to sleep with you. They don't really want to further a relationship from that first date. And they'll use the fact that, like, when you try to say no to them, like, no, I don't wanna give you a kiss, they'll try to use the fact that, like, well, why did you allow me to do all of this for you if you wasn't gonna give me something back at the end? Just so you as a woman don't feel like you owe them something back in return, just so you don't feel like pity for them, be like, well, I did let him pay for the date, so maybe I do owe him, just so you don't put yourself in that position. If you just pick up the tab, if the man does come to you or come at you at the end of the date and say, well, why did you let me spend my money on you if you wasn't going to give me something at the end, he doesn't have that ground to stand on. He can't say that I just spent my money on you, you owe me something. Now, I'm not saying 100% of the time when you go on a first date with someone, they want to sleep with you at the end, but I'm just saying, just to protect yourself, so a man is not like, well, I just spent money on you, so you owe me something back. You just pick up the tab.
I mean, like, that's ridiculous. Like, depending on what type of men you go out with. Clearly, if you just like easily go out with any random man that asks you out, then that's different. But if it's somebody you're actually talking to that asks you out, then you can differentiate intention from the beginning, right? For example, a guy that just asks you out, basically they have no intention to be with you. Of course, they're gonna try to sleep with you or give you a kiss at the end of the day, whether you pay or not. But if it's somebody that's actually talking to you, they that's not their intention. Their intention is to date you. Like, for example, you ask the question. The question is very very brief, right? You just say who should pay on the first date, right? I also believe it's based on what your intention is, right? If you wanna keep dating that person, then your answer completely changes, right? Because your whole argument, for instance, is like, oh, the man is gonna try to sleep with me if I don't pick up the check. At the same time, what if that man wanna do something serious with you?
Then it doesn't matter. You're not telling them like, oh, I'm gonna pick up the tab just in case you're gonna try to sleep with me. I'm not saying go into every single date that you're going to with the mindset that like this man is gonna want to sleep with me, so I'm gonna pick up the tab. I'm just saying you never know people's intention. It doesn't matter how well you know the person. Just to keep yourself protected, just so you don't feel in a situation where you have to give something back. Just to protect yourself. You never know like whether this person wants a long-term relationship with you or whether they just wanted a one-night stand. So you don't feel like you have to give them something back, or you don't feel, so they don't play mind games with you saying like, oh, well, why did you let me do all of this for you? You just protect yourself. You never know what people's intentions are. I'm not saying like go into the date like assuming that the man is only gonna want to sleep with you. I'm just saying just in case that's their intentions, you keep yourself protected.
Well, like I said, then it it really doesn't matter whether you pick up the check or not. If the guy wanna sleep with you, he's gonna ask to sleep with you. If the guy wanna kiss you, he's gonna ask to kiss you at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're the one that pay for the day or if you're the one that didn't pay for the day. It doesn't
But a
matter.
lot of men will try to manipulate you and say like, oh well, I just did all of this for you. So let's say I went on a date with someone, they paid for the date, and at the end of the night, when I'm telling them no, I don't want to go home with you, and their response is, well, I just spent my money on you, so you owe me this in return. I just don't give that person the power to say that.
You didn't ask though. You didn't ask. We go out, we both eat. If the person chooses to pay, then the person pay. If the person say they want to kiss or they want to have sex with you at the end of the day and you're not feeling that person, you have every right to say no. And that's a very lame excuse for a guy to even use on you. Now, I believe like whoever asks the person out should be the one to pay. For example, I'm not doing anything like right now, right? And then you ask me out. It doesn't I really like you. If I say no because I don't have money, then you see me as a broke nigga, right? So if you ask me out, your duty as the person that asked me out, you pay for the date. Now, let's say there's also the case where you might ask me out as a female, right? But I have money. You ask me out. Technically, you're supposed to pay for it, right? But as a man, I'm supposed to be a gentleman and pick up that tab. And also, it goes based on how do you see the person. Clearly, if you as a female ask me out, you see something in me. Either I'm very cute guy, you just want to smash, or I'm not so great looking and you just want a relationship with me. You, your first thing is when the check come and then you offer to pay it, that plays a major role in the guy's head. Like it's like, hey, this girl or woman is not after my money or after what I have. They're like they're offering to take the check is like saying, yo, I really want to be with you. There's no money boundary between us, right? Then I see that like very special to me, right? It's like I can brag about that person. Like that person really cares about me, not what I have or what I can give her, right? So that will strengthen the relationship if we ever do to move somewhere. But as a male, it's also your duty for you to like to deny her paying that thing, and you shouldn't be like at the end of the day like I wanna kiss you or forcing her to kiss you or anything like that. It should vibe automatically at the end of the day.
So don't you think a lot of times men will go on date with women just so they could get a one night stand at the end of the date? Like they will ask you, would you like to go on a? I don't think men give you that they have the wrong impression at first. Like they obviously know if they came up to you and show you like, oh, all I want at the end of this is to sleep with you, you probably would say no. So they would act like a gentleman from the start and show you like, I'm interested in you, I want something long term with you. But you don't think someone like that would still have the possibility at the end of the day to come off and say, well, would you like to come home with me?
Well, we play the lottery for a reason, right? You play the lottery thinking that you're gonna win, right? Just because you try saying, hey, do you wanna go back to my place? Doesn't mean you're forcing it. There's forcing it and then there's asking. I ask you, yo, I really wanna kiss you. Can I kiss you? That's me shooting my shot. Now, if you don't want to kiss me, you can say no. You can say no. You don't have to feel guilty about it just because I paid for the date.
But a lot of men will actually try to make. A lot of men will actually verbalize the fact
Then
that
that's
they
right.
paid for your date. No, they're not forcing themselves upon you. They're manipulating you to think that like, oh, you owe me something back in return. And I'm sure a lot of you ladies have experienced it before where a man would say like, well, I just gave you this and you have to give me something back in return. It's kind of the same thing when people try to say like, oh, if you love me, you would do this for me. Like people do that all the time, especially in young relationship. I think people do that all the time where they would say, well, if you love me, you'd have sex with me. If you love me, you do this with me. It's the same thing. Like men would take you out on a date and when it's time for them to ask for what they want, they'll say like, well, I just spent all this money on you, so I think you owe me something back in return. I'm not saying 100% of the men will do that. I'm not saying that's 100%, but I'm saying like a good 5% will. And just in case you end up in that situation, so you don't feel awkward or you don't feel the pressure of like doing something that you don't really want to do. You just pick up the tab. Like, just protect yourself from what could possibly turn out to be the end of the date.
Okay, like okay, I completely get your point. Like for me, the advice I can give is if you're a female, you easily manipulated by anything, or somebody can make you feel bad by saying the simplest thing. Okay, I think it's better for you to pick up that tab, right? And if you wanna pick it up and then the person insists, then that's them. But if you wanna go about it that way, right? Where you like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up just so I don't feel guilty at the end of the day, then that's completely fine. But if you're looking at it like in a more general perspective, like the reason why we date, then I think it's based on the guy should really pick it up to be a gentleman, and if you really don't have money, then the person that asks the person out should really pick it up. But at least you should offer, right? You should offer. Like one of the things I can't stand is like how we go out, we're not friends, we trying to date or we trying to smash whatever it is, and then we got to the table and you're like, alright, the check coming, and you go, hey waitress, half please, thank you. Nah, it makes no sense. that I completely disagree with you.
I don't use that whole like I just pay for your date to manipulate you, ladies. You reach and grab that, or you go half and half.
Wait, hold on. You're sitting at the table. You're sitting at the table for more than 10 minutes with a guy, right? By the time you're done talking with that guy for like 10-15 minutes, you already know what that guy's intention is, and you already know a lot about that person.
I don't think it's 100% of the time. Like,
hey, listen.
Throughout the day, you're gonna figure out this person wants to sleep with you.
Listen, if the guy is pushing hard in the middle of the day, like he's pushing hard, my man trying to grab your hand, trying to go around, trying to like, if he's trying to touch you at that table, then I advise you to pick up that check if you don't want to sleep with that man, right? If the man is trying really hard.
Oh, he could just be a gentleman.
For example, not every date have to take place at night or at a restaurant or at a movie theater, right? If you so insecure about men manipulating you after a date because you don't want to kiss them, hey, you could easily do a date, right? What can you do? We go get coffee. There's shit ton of people there, which is what we're gonna talk about in one of our previous next.
The same thing that you could do at night, you could do during the day. It doesn't make a difference where you are, the location. I would say like if you're afraid that someone's gonna try to touch you the wrong way or grab you the wrong way, then don't go on a date with them at night. Like if you seriously concerned, like if you're going on a first date with someone you don't know very well, like you met this person online and this is the first time you're meeting them, then I would advise that you don't go like to a restaurant with them at night where they're gonna walk you back home. But other than that, like it doesn't matter where you go on a date with a person. You could go at a picnic at a park where there's millions of people there, and at the end of the date, they still try to manipulate you, saying like, oh, like, well, what am I getting at the end of this date? And try to like, well, I just bought all the food and set up a nice blanket for you and I'm not getting anything in return. What are you gonna do? Scream to the people at the park, say like, he's trying to take me home.
So what are the chances? Like let's say you go on 10 dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many men will try to sleep with you at the end of the day?
I'm gonna say at least 3 of them are gonna try to sleep with you at the end of the day.
So hold on.
At least 3 of them are gonna try to sleep with you at the end of the day.
So for 30%, no, that's 10%. For 30%, 30, like 30%, she telling you to pick up that check all the time, bro. All the time.
Why should
don't worry about what's gonna happen, whether you meet your Prince Charming, whether you, I don't know.
First of all, the men shouldn't be offended that you reach and grab the check, okay? And if he's pushing hard, like, no, I want to pay, then just let him pay. I'm not saying like fight him off, saying like, no, I'm paying for the date. But I'm saying always make the effort to pay for a date. In fact, if you don't have money to pick up the tab on a date, don't go on a date completely relying on the men to pay for everything. Like, they're just gonna try to manipulate you. Like, oh, I just took you out, I picked you up from your house, I just paid for dinner, and now you're telling me no. And if I'm not saying like you easily manipulative to fall for it, but you might fall for it. That's what men do when they try to have sex with you. They manipulate you, and just so they don't use that And it doesn't matter if it's three out of the 10 men that you go on a date with that's gonna try to do it. You don't know which is which. If you know exactly, like if the person is giving you red flags from the start, obviously, like if someone comes up to you and asks you to go on a date by saying like, "Oh, you so sexy, you should go on a date with me," or "I think your booty's fat, you should go on a date with me."
That's your fault now if you go on that date. Clearly,
then,
the men pick you up.
then obviously for that men you want to pick up the tab. But then there are also men that are gentlemen that will be kind, that will do everything possible.
Exactly. If that man is a gentleman, right? Let's say he's a gentleman, you know, give you that little French kiss on your hand and everything like that, and take you out, you know, like he's very a gentleman from the start, right? Let's say the man is like the most perfect man you met, right? Um, he's a gentleman. He picks you up. He opens the door for you. He does all that, and then he talk to you on the date like he wants a relationship and how he wanna build in the future and tell you about his past and everything like that, right? And then now that date ends. You telling me you picking up that check just because you don't want that man to
Just
actually
because he was a gentleman doesn't mean he doesn't just want some booty at the end of the date. Just because, especially like if he's thinking like you, right? If the man is thinking like John, right, and he's just like, well, if I start off by saying like you're so sexy, your booty's fat, I probably won't get anything. But if I try to talk to you as if I want a future with you, you're more likely to like open up to me, then I'm more likely to take you home. Like some men already think of all of that stuff. They already know like, okay, I gotta come off as a gentleman. I gotta act like I'm ready to be a baby daddy, put a ring on it. They'll come off as that from the start of the date, and then all they wanted was just a one night stand. So every time you go on a date, you have the money. It's not like the 1800s where women didn't work and it was the men that was providing. So if they go on a date with a man, they had no choice but to let the men pay. You have a job, you have money. It's not gonna kill you if you drop $100 just so you don't let a man manipulate you at the end of the night. It's actually better for you. So don't worry, like if you had to spend, I don't know, if you go on 10 dates and you spend $1,000 at the end of the year, drop $1,000 just so you don't end up like having sex with someone just because they spent $100 on you, and you then feel like you could say no to them because they were like, oh, I just spent money on you and now you're not gonna give me anything.
So you believe like if you meet a man that you wanna fuck that man, then you should let him take the date.
What?
I'm saying if you meet a man that you wanna have sex with that man, right?
If you want to have a one night stand, if you want to have a one night stand, or if you're not worried about like, if you're not worried about having a one night stand, or you're not worried like if this person asks you for something at the end and they try to manipulate the fact that they paid for your date to sleep with you, you don't have a problem with that, then let them pick up the tab. I'm saying from like a safety perspective, just to like put yourself in a safe bubble that when you go out, if at the end of the day this gentleman is just like, oh, let me take you back home, you say no, and he's just like, but I just spent all my money on you, I just took you to a nice restaurant and paid all this money, you're gonna say no to me?
So they may only pay if you're gonna give him some booty.
You could whatever. Ladies, just to be safe, every time you go on a date, reach out to, you could go on a date with your best friend. Like, don't get me wrong. There could be someone that's been your best friend for the past 10 years and you guys finally decided to make it official.
But anyway.
Then you guys finally decided to make your relationship official. You could allow this person to pick up the tab. But I'm saying if you met someone online, or this is you getting to know this person on that first date, this is when you're getting to know the person, reach out and pay for the date. If he's fighting you to pay for it, he's like, no, I got it. I'm not saying like be aggressive and be like, no, I gotta pay for this date in case you want something at the end.
Alright.
But always reach for the tab and try to pay for the date to protect yourself.
Alright, in conclusion, I believe whoever asks to go out on the date, you should pay for the date. Ladies, if you ask a man out, you should pay for the date. Or at least offer to pay for the date, right? Yo, guys, if you ask a woman out, pay for that damn date. And women, if a guy asks you out, always make the gesture. You don't want to pay? Ask to pay. The money you have to pay cab in case some shit goes wrong on the date, use that shit to pay. Ask to pay. The man will see that as something in case the relationship is moving forward, and like she's saying, you can use that as your leverage if the man wanna peer pressure you at the end of the day. That's my conclusion.
In conclusion, ladies, if you have the money, you're going on a date with someone you don't know very well, you're not sure what their intentions are, whether they want to sleep with you or they want a future with you, reach out and pay for the date. And if they're fighting you, I'm not saying be all aggressive and like, no, I must pay for the date. But reach out and try to pay for the date. If they fight you for
Don't let her pay.
if they fight
Don't
you,
let her pay. Maybe you can be like, oh babe, I pay for the date. You gotta kiss me.
see what I'm talking about? Exactly. Thank you for tuning in to watch our video. If you made it to the end of the video, please subscribe to our channel because it will only get better from here. Thank you.
Don't worry about it, Team OJ.
What's Team OJ?
I don't even know, bro. It sounds good.
Oh.